Pan Africa Connect Radio.
You are listening to Pack Radio.
It's going to be fun and fulfilling on this very special Wednesday. How are you? Wherever you are, wherever you may be, I hope your day has been good. Are you still at work? If you are still at work, I hope you hold on until you get to the end of the day. At home, are you okay at home? Are you a learner? Where I come from, there is no water today, unfortunately. There was a water cut and the learners were dismissed at an earlier time than usual, and they're at home. I believe that you are listening as well, especially the learners from Cosmo Junior. It's going to be fun and fulfilling, and I want to say that you are most welcome on this show, The Wings of Change on Pack Radio. And our menu is just to get you motivated and inspired, as well as get transformed, because that's how you're gonna get to the destiny of your life. So our menu revolves around leadership transformation and personal development. The moment you tune in on this show, you are guaranteed to get motivated, inspired, as well as transformed. I feel like saying, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. You are in the right place, in the right time, and I'm sure you are gonna be satisfied by what you're gonna get today. You're gonna be blessed. It's gonna just be wonderful as we sit together in this very time on this very special Wednesday. And I want to say thank you very much for taking time to tune in. It's such a great honor for me to spend this time with you wherever you are. And I must just make it clear that you can tune in on this radio anywhere you are in the world. I've had people tuning in from as far as UK. Hello, Zondi from UK, and I hope you are listening right now. And Zondi is one of the equip facilitators, the equip of John Maxwell, and we are all about leadership transformation, and she really loves this journey of leadership transformation. And I want to greet everybody wherever you may be listening from, different countries, different provinces of South Africa. Let's start with Johannesburg. Johannesburg North, where are you? Are you well? Johannesburg South, hey, are you okay over there? Johannesburg East, Johannesburg West. But let me just zero in on Johannesburg North and ask you, are you listening? Please continue to listen. Don't touch that dial, because this is a place of transformation. It's a place of progressive movement. Riverside, this is where we are. This is where we are situated. Please keep on, tuning in, because this is where your special Wednesday afternoon. And I love all of you. I really do. I really do love all of you.
Pan Africa Connect Radio.
Making sure that you spend this time with me on this very special Wednesday on a weekly basis. And my name is Jabulani Joseph Zondi, and I go by JJ Zondi. Wow. According to John Maxwell, the teamwork makes the dream work. Can we have what we call the dream of Africa? I just feel it right now as I am speaking to you. The dream of Africa, where all the presidents of Africa come together, and we then share a common vision and see
Pan Africa Connect Radio.
You are listening to Pack Radio. Unity, harmony, and cultural exchange.
Specifically, we are about Beyond Success Leadership Program, and that helps us a great deal to get to the objectives of our. I have a friend and a brother right here on studio who is with me, and it's gonna be our guest for today. He's a special guest. That's why I said this is a special Wednesday, because we have a special guest in our midst, and he's gonna introduce himself, and we're gonna take it from there. We're gonna have a conversation around the issues of leadership, and we are looking at many aspects of leadership, but what is in his heart today is the elements of effective leadership. And we're gonna do that today, and it's gonna be fun and fulfilling. Indeed, it is a special day. And listen to this, we're gonna be with you for about 15 more minutes, and just stick to your radio and do not touch that dial, because it's gonna be lit, it's gonna be epic just now as we start this conversation with my brother from another mother. He's here with me, and he's gonna introduce himself, and it's just gonna be wonderful. And let me tell you what, at the end of this show, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna ask you just a few questions on what transpired in this conversation. And I've got a reward for the person who's gonna answer me. You can just drop me a WhatsApp and tell me. In fact, let me just make it easy for everybody. I'm not gonna ask you any question. You just drop me a WhatsApp and tell me what we have been talking about. And I've got 100 rands reward if you tell me what this conversation was all about. Just drop me a WhatsApp, and the number is 062-188-0536. I repeat the number, 062-188-0536. Get ready as we get into our conversation. My brother, thank you very much for coming. And it's just a pleasure for me to host you on this very important show, The Wings of Change on PEC Radio. And as you know, we are about transformation.
Absolutely.
And we do that through motivation, inspiration, and leadership coaching. And you come all the way from Val. You've come too far. I mean, this man has traveled. And I really appreciate you, having been here, having come from, so far. And I really appreciate you. Tell us who you are. Introduce yourself just very briefly.
Awesome. I must just perhaps start off by really appreciating the fact that I'm here. I've been so much looking forward to this conversation that we're going to be having here today. Val is where the church is, but I woke up at my place in Ridgeway, Joburg South. My name is Ceniva. I am a speaker, coach, and trainer. And I've been with John Maxwell for a couple of months as a partner and mentor. So I'm just about leadership. That's my passion. My passion is about inspiration. My passion is about motivation. It is about training and coaching, predominantly on matters related to leadership, personal development, relationship, and business and entrepreneurship as well. So that's briefly who I am and a bit about what I do. And I'm grateful to connect with you, and I'm your friend.
Thank you. I'm your friend too. Thank you.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Now, tell me, I mean, I love your profile. You are just a loaded man, just so loaded. Business, relationships, and all that stuff. What is leadership to you? Just in brief.
I'm happy you say leadership to me, because otherwise leadership, as you would know, is a very broad subject, depending on which school of thought are you subscribing to, where you're coming from, and all of that. But I have since aligned myself really to John Maxwell's definition of leadership. He puts it very simple. And he says leadership is influence, nothing else and nothing less. And for me, that really sums up what one could talk about what leadership is, because any other thing and every other thing is to a great extent connected to one's influence to a particular people, in a particular geographical location at a particular time based on whatever purpose of the time is. It is all about influencing others, really, from point A to a desired point B, journeying along with the people. It's all about influence.
Wow. If you look around, in our country, look at the leaders that we have in our country, you'll see some have influence, that really takes people to the desired goal, and that's positive influence.
Absolutely.
But you'll have people or leaders who have influence that take people down the drain. What do you see in our country, and how could we change what we see in terms of the influence that people who are in leadership have? Because definitely from what you've just said, correctly so, that leadership is all about influence. And the beauty of that is it's either influence to the positive or to the negative.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'll have leaders who influence people to the positive and those that influence people to the negative. And that's destruction on one hand, and that's building and construction on another hand. So, from what you see, what do you see? How would you evaluate what situation we have in our country, and therefore, how do we redirect if ever we need to?
You're right. I'll take your last few words. If ever we need to, and I'll flip it to say, of course we need to.
Oh yeah.
We need to do something about where we are, because if we don't do anything about where we are going to then cry foul. We will just accept things based on where they are, and again, if nobody does, if I don't do anything, who will? And if I don't start now, then when will that be? So something must be done. But I want to say, perhaps bring a quote by Mahatma Gandhi that says, "Be the change you want to see."
Oh yeah.
So for me, it has got to start with just that. Because before there are people, there is me. And if I start changing myself and then begin to influence those closest to me and help them to influence others to the positive direction, and again, there must also be clarity about what is it we want to have achieved. Because if the goal, if the vision is clear, life becomes more easier. So it must change, it must start with me. There must be a clear vision, which must then be communicated very clearly. Then I must influence others close to me, giving them also a mandate to go ahead and influence others. So it's more like change one, influence one to influence one. Whatever you are, you influence others to become, and you also influence those that are what you are to become exactly that and influence other people. So it's going to be a chain. It might involve a lot of time, of course, in us changing the whole thing to be what we want it to be. But it has got to start. And it better start today, it better start with me.
Wow. Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah.
It's got to start with me.
Yeah.
If it is to be,
Yeah.
it is up to me.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Be the change that I want to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that now takes us to a conclusion of complaining.
Yeah.
We come to an end of a complaining season, and then we then say, what can I do?
You're so right, because we have a mentality that I believe must change, and an attitude. Mentality and the attitude of pointing fingers at other people without flipping the whole thing to a question that says, what can I do? And once I identify what I can do, then I begin to embolden myself to do the first step and become consistent in those things that I know are good things to do. I mean, think about it this way, Dr. Zondi. Let's say we take this model that we are putting across for every one of us to do in all sectors, in all mountains of influence, government, economy, schools, all of these 7 mountains, and you say, let everyone start with themselves and say, I want to be a change. What can I do? Once I identify what I can do, then I begin to do it. You do that, I do that, all the 4 of us here do that, everyone else will begin to do that. In the next 5 years, surely the current landscape would have changed. Our economy would have changed. Our government and politics would have changed. Schools would have changed. And family would have changed. And there will be a change one day at a time. And really, you are right. Then there won't be any complainer. We will all become those who are thriving at that which we know is going to have to bring about a real difference in our community and our society.
Wow, this is beautiful. You are listening to PAC Radio, Pan Africa Connect, and I am your host, JJ Zondi, and this is the Wings of Change. And I always say this, you are in the right place. This is a place of motivation, transformation is happening right here. So, Baba Guy, you are saying it begins with me, and then I must have a clear goal as a leader, and therefore influence those that are around me. All right, okay, that's wonderful. And then now, let's take it. Can you take it to a level of an individual? How would the issue of leading play out on an individual level?
I think first and foremost, you'll have to start with an understanding of the fact that I'm a leader to myself. That knowing, that awareness is a good beginning of great things going forward. To understand that unless I lead myself, nobody else will. Or if others lead me before I lead myself, they may lead me to whatever it is they want to achieve, which may not necessarily be aligned with what I want to achieve. So it starts with that. I must know I'm a leader of myself. Number two, I need to then begin to do an assessment of where I'm at. Because in leadership there are competencies. There are core competencies that every leader must embody. So I need to know about all of those. Talk about communication, people skills, relating to others, and many others. Once I get to know the core competencies that I must embody as a leader of self, even before I lead other people, then I must then do an assessment or an audit in terms of, but where am I in as far as these core competencies are concerned? For example, if you say in a scale of 1 to 10, I get to do an assessment of myself in that, let's say, communication is a core leadership competency, and say, but I'm at a 5. Once I've honestly assessed, then I'll then have to say, what can I do to ensure that I move myself from a 5 to at least a good 8, a good 9, even a good 10? So that then takes me to the third step in the process, which talks about crafting a program, an intervention program, an action plan that moves me from where I am to where I know I need to be in as far as building these core leadership competencies. And I believe once you do that, it will really be a good step in the right direction. I must also add that nobody is an island. If anybody is to really thrive, we need to understand that there are things that I don't have which are intentionally locked up in JJ Zondi's life. So I need to allow JJ Zondi to take me by the hand and say, whatever experience you have, whatever expertise you have, whatever level you're at in terms of leadership, come help me. As a mentor, as a coach, as a partner, so that you help me refine those leadership competencies on my side and take me by the hand, and it helps also with finding an accountability partner. I'm still dealing with myself in terms of leadership. I have not spoken yet about going to lead other people. It starts, like the question was asking, with me leading self. Those are just a few of the thoughts I could throw in about what one can do at a personal level and in leading self.
Wow, this is awesome. You know, you can now realize that we are so blessed at PAC Radio to have such, wealthy information that is being shared and coming across to you as hot as possible. And you are listening to JJ Zondi on the Wings of Change. Yeah, so this is a beautiful conversation. As we are moving towards the closure, I'm hearing you talking about evaluation of competences on an individual level when we talk leadership. So I must know, who am I? I must understand what characteristics and attributes I possess, because the world is looking for someone with something. The world is asking you, what do you have? So if I don't know what I have, then how would I engage in the world matters?
Absolutely.
So that's where now the evaluation of competencies come in, and you spoke about action plan. I summed up this point as action plan because most people are loitering around and they are complaining and they are saying lots of stuff, but you ask them, what is it that you are prepared to do? There's no action plan. It's just a pipe dream. And with a pipe dream, you can't even move an inch. Yeah, so I believe that as you are seated at home and listening to this conversation, you are being inspired, you are being motivated, and you are, most of all, being transformed, because this is a space of motivation. Transformation is taking place right here on Pack Radio. Now we are going to go towards the end, and listen to me. Remember, you are about to get your reward. You are due for your reward at the end. If you drop me a WhatsApp and tell me just one point that we are talking about, and the number is 062 188 0536. Let me repeat the number: 062 188 0536. This is Pack Radio, the Pan Africa Connect, and you are sitting with JJ Zondi, and you are listening to The Wings of Change. And like I said before, I'm sitting here with Ceniva. I'm gonna practice this until I get it right. Ceniva. Yeah. So this is the man on the studio this afternoon, and we are having a powerful time together. And this is a great moment, as we engage in the matters of leadership. Now, as we wrap up, Ceniva, you've just said a mouthful, and we are so glad you came. And I believe that someone who's listening at home, they are being changed and they're being transformed. They are being inspired, because this is what I believe this society needs, and this country needs, and all the countries of the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now, because for us to become anything, we need to build it. You can never become anything that you have not built.
Absolutely.
And hence, it becomes a process of development. And right now, we are in that journey of development. Now, as we wrap up, you've mentioned a few things around the elements of effective leadership. Maybe can you just conclude on whatever that is in your heart concerning the effective elements of effective leadership?
Okay. We may never have enough time to run all of them down.
Sure.
But perhaps just what we have time to talk about now, and just highlight and mention, we spoke about communication. It's a very critical one. I mean, George Shaw said, the single biggest challenge or problem of leadership is the illusion that it is taking place. And you don't want to be a leader that is not so sure about whether your communication is effective or not. So communication stands out very critical and top of the list, really, for me. Second to that will be character. We spoke a bit earlier about the fact of knowing who you are, and it starts with character. So character will then say, before you do, be. John Maxwell says we are not human doings, we are human beings.
Yeah.
So we live in a society that is so much focused on what people do or don't do, such that even our relationships will be based on what you do or don't do, instead of focusing our attention on building people for who they are and who they're supposed to be. And that talks to one's belief system, that talks to one's principles and value system.
I think before you proceed, it takes me back to the time prior, 1994. Especially in South Africa, we were involved in a struggle, political struggle, in pursuit of freedom. And come 1994, and we got the freedom through a vote, and we now started to engage in the doing. Without preparing the being.
The person.
And we were so hurt, many of us, especially those who were at the forefront
At the time.
and the general public of South Africa,
Absolutely.
many of us went through a lot. I myself went through something during that time of apartheid and violence that was taking place in the townships and societies, and people running away from their homes, leaving homes, and there's a lot that took place at that time that left a negative dent in the soul of a South African. And basically, in a nutshell, you would have a South African who is bleeding, at that point.
Absolutely.
And yet, none of us, or few of us, were concerned about how do we now build this being called a South African before this being gets engaged in a doing process, building a new South Africa. And how would you say, in the few minutes left, that impacted on where we are today? It's no secret that there's corruption. It's been on news. It's not like I'm saying something that is like, hidden somewhere. It's been widely on news on different platforms. What would you say, this is how this impacted, the South Africans, especially those that were in leadership and others who are in leadership today, that they were not prepared as in a being, to be rather than to do. You start by being before you do, because your doing emanates from what you are from the inside.
Absolutely.
So,
Dr. Zondi.
yeah.
You've summed it up just on your concluding remarks of just that point. Look, there is a direct impact and correlation from who you are. I like giving this example. I don't know of a school that teaches dogs how to bark. There's no school.
Yeah.
All you do as a responsible citizen, you ensure that a dog knows it is a dog. It then barks automatically.
Wow.
What is the point? Once the identity, the character, the being is sorted, out of the understanding of who one is flows values, flows principles that are in line with who the person is. Otherwise, we will have a society that fakes things up, that does things for the public, does things for social media, just to do a PR when it's not truly who they are. So there is a direct impact from who the person is to what the people do. If we could start a change movement from today that says, let me build myself up. Let me build myself up. Out of that, there will be a good flow of the things that I do. We lack ethical leaders, for example. No, ethical leadership is not first what you do. It's first who you are. We spoke about corruption. Corruption is not first what people do or don't do. It is first who they are. It is first their value system. It is first their non-negotiables, if they have any. It is first their set of principles that they are endearing or they are committing to hold to themselves and says, here's a set of my commitments. I will not compromise integrity and all those other values.
What comes first to me? What is it that comes first to me?
And what I don't negotiate on.
Yeah.
So once we build all of those, I think in our society, if you look at all the sectors around our society, they will take a different shape, different landscape because of the people who are in leadership. Not what they do first, but who they are first. For example, people that care. You care not because of what you do first. You care because you value people. And before you value others, you must value yourself. And you can't value yourself until you know who God made you to be. Mother Teresa says that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you could have this type of leaders within our society, within our government, and any other sector for that matter, things will really change. But it starts with me. And it starts with who I am and who I built myself to be. From there, then I will do in whatever I do that is in line with the person. I am dogs back. That's it. Dogs don't speak. People speak. Dogs back. If you can get leaders back to a negotiation or a discussion about what is effective leadership, what is a functional leader, what is a great leader, can you be one? Once you're one, whatever you do flows out of who you are as a functional leader.
So the message here is let's build the inner self first.
Let's build the personal leadership
before we get on the journey.
Absolutely.
Because the journey is going to be messy.
Absolutely.
When the inner self has not been built and
Absolutely.
prepared for the journey.
Absolutely.
I call it an internal posture. We'll talk about it another time, whereby you have to have a set of values and principles and belief system. You know, that's your posture on the inside. That determines how far you will go. It determines what you will do.
Absolutely.
So I believe that South Africa is listening, and I hope that some politicians are listening. I believe that some government officials also are listening, because this is for you. We are engaging in such matters because we love you. We're not here just to criticize you, but we're here just to walk alongside you and be on this journey together. Let's build this country together. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our show, and it's been such a wonderful moment of conversation with my brother here.
521-3268.
Say it again.
+27-64-521-3268 or 064-521-3268.
Now you got it for yourself, you had it for yourself. That's where you got development. He's here for you, and you can get it any
Pan Africa Connect Radio.
You are listening to Park Radio.
You have a date with me. Let's keep tuning in and become the best nation, the best people, the best individuals, the best politicians, and we will never be the same again. Thank you. God bless you.